The elephant sitting on the entire planet, obviously, is the testimony of Robert Mueller in front of the House Judiciary Committee and the House Foreign Intelligence Committee. And oh my gosh, I made this little joke on Twitter, which kind of I led the show with. Here's the joke, okay, which I thought was funny. The Mueller testimony was like being on a hot date with that special someone you admired for years, and halfway through dinner you realize she doesn't know your name and her favorite bands are Nickelback and U2 spelled Y-O-U-T-O-O. Yes, I had this feeling, man. I had a feeling as we watched that yesterday. Now, as you know, we were watching this on the show yesterday, and then as I was driving around yesterday, I put someone else's stream watching it, and I would listen to the whole thing through both committees. Oh my Lord. Is there anyone on the planet right now who thinks that Robert Mueller wrote that report or even was involved in the investigation at all? And now, look, I have some respect for Robert Mueller. He's a decorated war veteran. You know, he was the FBI director. Well, now, hold on. His former FBI director stint during the Bush administration, I don't know about that. People they were praising him for that time. Aren't these the same people who listened to, well, not all of them, but some of them were around when Robert Mueller gave the testimony about WMDs in Iraq? Y'all remember that? Remember that little remember that little debacle? So, you know, it's the same Robert Mueller, but I knew that the idea of Robert Mueller testifying for Congress was a mistake for the Democrats. And I already knew their strategy. You could tell their strategy because their strategy was basically to try to get Mueller to recite things out of the report, which he did not write, that was blatantly obvious that he did not write the report, nor do I think he even supervised the writing of the report. And in fact, I don't think he wrote the letter to the Justice Department when they were complaining about it didn't have the essence of the report. And I don't think, good morning, MC, hammer time. Anyway, I don't think he wrote that letter to the Justice Department. I don't think the speech he gave a couple of weeks ago when he got the special counsel got reprimanded by the judge in the one of those Russian troll farm cases. He got reprimanded by the judge because the judge said he was trying that case in the courts, and he was treating that in all his public sentiments as though they had already been convicted. And they haven't even gone to trial yet. And also, the problem is when they don't have any evidence. The judge said, hey, you don't even have any evidence right now, so you need to back that up. And that's the day he went, had that little impromptu press conference and made his language completely changed in regard to that case. Instead of saying that they did this, they did that, they did this and that, it was they are charged with doing this. They allegedly did this. And very distinctly said the words innocent until proven guilty. And also you'll notice in the testimony yesterday that he changed the language, even though the language in the Mueller report states those things happened. But anytime he spoke about it, he said they are charged with this. So let's get into that a little bit, because I want to show you some highlights, basically pulled from some articles that I pulled up. And so we're going to look at those. First one here, montage. Confused looking Mueller repeatedly asking for questions to be repeated. Marcelo Gamer, can you repeat everything you just said, P-Dog? Paying attention is beyond my purview. Oh, y'all are on point today. Well, here's a little montage made by Grubian, and this is pretty funny. Here we go.
The president committed the crime of obstruction. You could not publicly state that in your report or here today.
Can you repeat the question, sir? You're going to have to repeat that for me. Can you repeat the last part of that question?
Yeah. Which act? Pardon?
Can you read the last question?
The last question was
I want to make certain I got it accurate. I'm sorry, could you
The
restate?
individual is in fact obligated to provide what's being demanded by the regulation or statute, meaning you don't have any wiggle room, right?
I'd have to look more closely at the statute.
Well, I just read it to you,
And what was the question, sir, if I might?
correct?
And where are you reading from?
Oh
on
my
that?
God!
I'm reading from my question.
Then could you repeat it?
Okay.
Is that correct on the screen?
Can you repeat the question? And now that I have the language on the screen,
Is it correct?
what was the question?
Pardon?
Can you read the last question?
The last question was
I want to make
recite.
certain I got it accurate. I apologize.
Sure.
Can you start it again?
Okay, sure.
I'm sorry, could you?
Okay, now let me. This isn't even the whole thing. So, you know what? He just didn't know. He didn't. He wasn't. Half the time, it was as though he wasn't listening. Now, it's interesting because at the beginning of the second committee, when he was having an exchange with Adam Schiff. Now, Adam Schiff, I don't like it. Adam Schiff, I don't trust Adam Schiff. But during Adam Schiff's questioning, Adam Schiff was going through a rapid fire list of things, and he was answering questions like lickety split. Boom, answer question, answer question, answer question, answer question, answer. None of this. Can you repeat this? Can you repeat that? And it almost felt like that was rehearsed. It was just weird. But anyway, let's see here.
Repeat that one.
Attorney number 2 in the Inspector General's report and Strzok both worked on your team, didn't they?
Pardon me, can you ask?
They both worked on your team, didn't they?
I know, I heard Strzok. Who else were you talking about?
Attorney number 2
It's like he's not even listening to the question.
identified in the Inspector General's report.
Okay. And
You know what I think he was doing? You know what I think he was doing during this entire hearing? I think he was playing. Have you ever heard of what's the Golf Clash? I think he was playing Golf Clash on his phone. I think he was the whole time because he wasn't listening to the damn questions.
the question was?
Volume 2, page 87 and 88 of your report. True?
I'm sorry, could you again repeat the question?
So anyway, this says here, former Special Counsel Robert Mueller frequently appeared confused during his much anticipated Capitol Hill testimony Wednesday. Mueller, who is often celebrated in the media for laser-like thinking, had to ask lawmakers to regularly repeat their questions, seemingly struggling to pay attention. He wasn't paying attention half the time. I mean, literally, when Matt Gaetz asked him about Peter Strzok and lawyer number 2, he was in the middle of the question, very clearly asked the question. And Mueller looks up at him and says, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Can you repeat it? And I don't know if it's a strategy to take up their time. I think every time he asked, can you repeat the question? I would have done a friggin' Maxine Waters. Reclaiming my time. At other points, Mueller got confused about whether the members of Congress were asking him questions or if they were reading from his own report. In just the first 90 minutes of the hearing, Mueller needed help understanding questions more than 10 times. In one such exchange, Mueller, under questioning from Representative James Sensenbrenner, Republican Wisconsin, asked, and where are you reading from on that? I'm reading from my own question, the lawmaker reminded him. Then can you repeat it? So where are you reading it from? Well, why are you asking where you're reading it from if you, and then you have to repeat it? And Sheila Jackson Lee. Yeah. In another painful episode, Mueller had to ask Representative Sheila Jackson Lee 3 times to clarify and restate her question. Now, he couldn't understand what the hell she was saying anyway, but still, he had to ask 3 times. So Mueller was not doing good. Some other things about the Mueller thing from Mediaite. This is painful. Pundits question Mueller's frail performance at the hearing. He did not seem in control at all. I mean, it was embarrassing. Here, we'll do Stuart Varney real quick. Well, here, a number of pundits this morning have been questioning former Special Counsel Robert Mueller's performance at the hearing before the House Judiciary Committee. Fox Business host Stuart Varney spoke to Judge Andrew Napolitano as the Mueller hearing got underway Wednesday. Napolitano said so far it shows Mueller is a good Marine and he's going to follow the instructions from the Department of Justice and basically not talk about ongoing cases, not talk about the deliberations that led to the report, and not talk about anything outside the report. Now, that's bad news for both sides, he added, saying Democrats want to go into his thinking while Republicans want to question him about the origins of the investigation. At one point, Varney remarked, "Forgive me for making almost a personal comment. Mueller seems frail. He does not seem really sharp and in line with answering the questions. Yes or no? Is that what he's been giving?" So here's that exchange real quick.
They've started. You're looking right now live at the Mueller hearings. Joining us, Judge Andrew Napolitano and Liz Peek, and David Barnson will chime in as well. I'm not sure we can get him on camera. Yes, we got him on camera. First to the judge. Okay, they started at 8:30, 31 minutes ago. Right. You've been listening. What have you heard so far?
That Bob Mueller is a good Marine, and he's going to follow the instructions from the Department of Justice and basically not talk about ongoing cases, not talk about the deliberations that led to the report, and not talk about anything outside the report.
Now, if you weren't here yesterday, that was in Mueller's opening statement. He said that he was not going to talk about anything that related to what happens before the case. And like he said, everything that Napolitano said there, that was Mueller's opening statement. Now, as you may have noticed, though, during the hearing, there were plenty of things that were in the report that he was asked about that he said, well, that's not something that I'm going to talk about. Well, it's in your report. Why aren't you talking about it? Especially the Fusion GPS thing, which we will get to, I promise.
Now, that's bad news for both sides. The Democrats want to go into his thinking. Isn't it true that if Donald Trump were a private citizen, there's enough evidence here to indict him? Bob Mueller's not going to answer that. And the Republicans want to go into the origins of it. Isn't it true that this was started by fraud and trickery and entrapment of a witness in a bar in London, and the whole thing was an FBI scam before the FISA court? He's not going to go into that. Yeah. So,
and also, if they did ask him about that, it's clear he has no idea what they were talking about anyway. During this entire thing, there are things they asked him that he didn't know. That he didn't know about that was in the report that he didn't know, that I knew. Things that they asked, I knew exactly what every single person on that panel in the House Judiciary Committee was talking about. Every question. I knew what was it, the question. How did the guy who supposedly wrote the report not know about those things? Unbelievable, some of the things he didn't know. Good morning, Smarty Bear. How you doing?
So far, he has basically pleased the questioners. He has basically said to Chairman Nadler, you did find some evidence of conspiracy, but not enough to indict. Isn't that true? Yes. You did find evidence of obstruction of justice. The president himself tried to interfere. He didn't successfully interfere, but he tried. Yes. And you can't exonerate the president. Yes. Then Congressman Collins, did you find that the president committed any crime? No, we didn't make that determination. Did you find that there was a conspiracy between the president and the Russians? Absolutely not. That's the first volume of the report. Well, so
anyway, these guys all got their purpose in. The Democrats basically spent their whole time trying to get him to recite things from the report so they could have a soundbite on TV. He refused to do that, so they basically read from the report. And he would say, it's in the report or I can't talk about that. And then the Democrat would say exactly what Necrosol just wrote there. No one is above the law. Every single Democrat, no one is above the law. That was their close every time. Also, this was big too. He corrected some testimony. Now, if you didn't get to watch the whole thing, Mueller corrects earlier testimony. Decision not to charge wasn't because of DOJ rule, not about indicting the president or about not indicting the president. So there goes. It's another narrative that kind of went away. His opening statement in the House Intelligence Committee hearing, which is the second committee. There's two committees. In the morning, it was the Judiciary Committee. In the afternoon, it was the Intelligence Committee. Here's his opening statement, relevant to what I'm talking about here, from the House Intelligence Committee.
I want to add one correction to my testimony this morning. I want to go back to one thing that was said this morning by Mr. Liu, who said, and I quote, "You didn't charge the president because of the OLC opinion." That is not the correct way to say it. As we say in the report, and as I said at the opening, we did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime.
Okay, now that's important because the headlines that were already popping up the minute Ted Lieu asked that question, Ted Lieu tried to get him to said the only reason you didn't charge the president was because of the OLC opinion, meaning the opinion that's from the Justice Department that said you can't indict a sitting president. Okay, so Mueller answered yes to that question, but that is not. And then he came back in the afternoon and said, "No, excuse me, that is not correct. He didn't charge. They did not make any charging decision." Meaning they didn't try to determine whether or not he was guilty or they were going to charge him or not. It seems like a subtle correction, but it's a very important correction, and it took the wind out of the Democrats' sails, unfortunately, for them. No one obeys the law, but everyone has the presumption of innocence. Yes, they are, except for Hillary Clinton. Excuse me. All right, what was the next one I pulled up here? Oh, ABC News, Terry Moran, after the Mueller hearing, impeachment is over. Uh-oh. The wind is out of their sails. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's, you know what, public opinion on this, for the little bit of public that's even paying attention, no, it ain't happening. Sorry. It's just not. Here we go. Listen to
that question. Was the ball advanced? No. Impeachment's over. I don't think Nancy Pelosi is going to stand for her members, bring forth something that is going to obviously lose in the Senate, lose with the American public. And the problem with Mueller's testimony on this issue is that he had to carry the ball for them some way, whether he wanted to or not, and at least by being a vigorous, strong, rock-solid prosecutor. And he looked like somebody who'd slowed a step or two, and perhaps as the Republicans are starting to put out there, maybe he wasn't even in control of all those angry Democrats. Maybe he's a figurehead.
He wasn't. He didn't do anything.
So they could do their dirty work. That's the theory they're coming out with. It's not going to be bought by Democrats, but they needed more fuel for any kind of impeachment effort.
Well, one of the things we saw,
they wanted Robert Mueller to say that the only way you can get this president now is to impeach him. Those are the words they wanted, and they didn't get them. In fact, they could not even get Mueller to recite the words in the report that they wanted them to recite. They tried over and over and over, and he said, "No, I'm not going to read that, but you can certainly read it if you'd like." And then they would ask him, "Well, is that true?" He said, "That is how it is accurately written in the report." So he was obfuscating, and part of it is because he didn't write the report. It was painfully obvious he did not write the report. All right, next one. Oh, by the way, I don't necessarily want to. I feel, I don't know why, but I feel unbelievably sorry for Robert Mueller. I mean, he is just a tragic figure right now. And so I was gonna say FTG to Robert Mueller, but no, I just don't. I can't do it. I feel bad for the dude. Now FTG to Jerry Nadler, hell yeah. FTG to Adam Schiff. Here, there you go. Let's have an FTG for the chairman of the two committees who made us sit through this bullshit. Can I get an FTG for those dickheads? All right, here's another one here. Prominent Democrats, Michael Moore, David Axelrod, Lawrence Tribe admit the truth about Mueller. This one was huge. Lawrence Tribe has been ragging incessantly about Trump. Incessantly. Unbelievable how much Lawrence Tribe tweets about this thing. Lawrence Tribe, as much as I hate to say it, this morning's hearing was a disaster. Far from breathing life into his damning report, the tired Robert Mueller sucked the life out of it. The effort to save democracy and the rule of law, oh, aren't you special? The effort to save democracy and the rule of law from this lawless president has been set back, not advanced. Yes, you are the saviors of democracy. I'm waiting for the Inspector General reports to come out. Oh my gosh. And the investigations from the Justice Department. You think the Democrats are at a low now. Just wait till those reports come out. It's gonna be whoo! Michael Moore, a frail old man, unable to remember things, stumbling, refusing to answer basic questions. I said it in 2017, and Mueller confirmed it today. All you pundits and moderates and lame Democrats who told the public to put their faith in the esteemed Robert Mueller, just shut the fuck up from now on. Michael, I'm sorry this is happening to you. Can I get an FTG for Michael Moore? Just because he's Michael Moore? David Axelrod, this is delicate. Now, I think Axelrod's a smarmy prick, but I also have a level of respect for him too. He's a masterful politician, whatever you want to call it, even though he's a smarmy prick. He's not Chuck Schumer. Axelrod is actually, I would have a beer with Axelrod and just try to like pick his mind. Chuck Schumer's just a smarmy prick. Anyway, David Axelrod. This is delicate to say, but Mueller, who I deeply respect. Yeah, you didn't respect him when you were an advisor to Obama, though. Who I deeply respect, has not publicly testified before Congress in at least 6 years. Oh, but I thought he was the Democrats' savior. And he does not appear as sharp as he was then. Yeah, you think? I think he, it's almost like, oh man. Like I said, I'm not going to FTG Robert Mueller. I feel bad for him. I think he jumped into something he knows he shouldn't have jumped into. And that's why he wasn't taking questions after he had that little impromptu press conference a couple weeks ago. And I know this is why he did not want to testify before Congress, because he has no idea what is going on with the people that he was in charge of. And that's, I guarantee you, Andrew Weissman, the guy who was a attorney for the Clinton Foundation, who was the number 2 guy in this investigation, I guarantee you Andrew Weissman probably had a lot more to do with this than Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller was a figurehead, and he was the one they could say, but he's a Republican. Yeah, he's a Bush Republican. He's a friend of the Bush family. The Bush family hates Donald Trump. And I'm, you know what? And this is from someone who doesn't really care about Donald Trump that much. I don't knock Donald Trump. Like I said, his policies, I'm on board. I just don't like his style. But hey, he's good at being what he is. And Robert Mueller is a Bush crony. The Bushes hate Donald Trump. Okay? This guy, being a Republican means nothing. You know what? David French is a Republican. Anna Navarro is a Republican. Joe, what's his name? Morning Joe. Joe Scarborough is a Republican. I rest my case. FTG to Anna Navarro, David French, and Joe Scarborough. FTG for all 3 of those guys. Girls. Then David Axelrod. This is very, very painful. I'm so sorry this is happening to you, David. Okay, enough about Robert Mueller. Let's move on, because there actually was some other news yesterday. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and I want to thank you for joining me today on the Dawg Knight channel. Before you go, if you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live.
I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 2 p.m. GMT. A special thanks to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through our Streamlabs link in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.